I had a Heritage Softail, beautiful Cadillac of Harley-Davidson road bikes. Felt great, rumbling under my rump and on my soles of my feet. I did a U-turn on Washington, shot back down toward Robertson. My bike hit sand and fish tail. And I hit the front brake and flipped over and hit my head on the curb. Hit the front brake, split my skull wide open to there, knocked a hole in it that big, and I landed at the feet of a police officer. They picked me up, got me on the table, and about 2 hours later, the surgery was over.
Gary Busey revealed a harrowing tale to PMT, describing how a motorcycle accident left him without signs of life for 2 whole hours. He spoke vividly about the eerie calm he felt while caught between life and death, painting a picture of the moment that reshaped his entire existence. After regaining consciousness, Busey found himself forever changed, viewing life through a new lens that influenced everything from his career to personal beliefs. What could it mean to glimpse beyond, to touch the unknown even briefly? Join us as we uncover the chilling, transformative effects on those who glimpse beyond death's veil. From Harleys to head injuries. The crash occurred when Busey was riding his Harley-Davidson at 40 miles per hour without wearing a helmet. This risky choice led to a serious accident where he hit his head on a curb, causing severe injuries, including a fractured skull. The fracture was so large that it left a hole the size of a $50 coin on the right side of his head.
Split my skull on the right side, knocked a hole in as big as a 50-cent piece. They took bones out of my pelvis to fill the hole.
To fix the damage, surgeons used pieces of bone from his pelvis. Busey, with his unique sense of humor, compared this unexpected trauma to getting hit by a golf ball during an off-course game. But the physical injuries weren't the only thing that affected him. After this near-death experience, Busey described feeling as though he had entered a spiritual realm where he was surrounded by heavenly beings. He expressed this feeling by saying his soul was like a small, narrow strip, almost like it was tucked within his spinal column.
I know what it feels like because I have been in the spiritual zone, in the supernatural, surrounded by angels, and my essence was about 12 inches long and about 1/4 of an inch wide.
This extraordinary experience left a deep mark on Busey, pushing him to seek change. He traveled to Washington, D.C., where he met with important figures like John McCain, Orrin Hatch, and Ted Kennedy, among others. He shared his frightening story and its aftermath, which played a significant role in the creation and signing of the Traumatic Brain Injury Act by President Bill Clinton in 1996. This law was designed to improve care and support for people who suffer from similar brain injuries. However, the most significant change wasn't just in the laws he helped influence. Busey's outlook on life shifted dramatically after the accident. He came out of the experience with a new appreciation for each day, seeing every moment as a precious gift. His senses and perceptions changed, and he noticed new skills and a heightened awareness that he didn't have before the crash. He even described ordinary days as feeling brand new, calling these experiences Busha days, where familiar scenes felt like they were being seen for the first time. But this wasn't the most surprising part. Busey also found that his accident had sharpened his mental and emotional abilities in ways he hadn't expected. Things he once found difficult or impossible were now easier, and he felt more engaged with the world around him. Determined to make a difference, Busey has since become a strong advocate for mandatory helmet laws across the United States. He emphasizes the importance of protecting the brain, which he refers to as the computer that controls our entire being, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically. His campaign highlights how critical it is to wear a helmet to protect this vital organ, hoping that others might avoid the dangers he faced. Busey's story isn't just about surviving a terrible accident, it's also about transformation and advocacy. From a life-threatening crash to a passionate push for safety and awareness, his journey shows how personal tragedy can lead to positive change for many. After his accident, Busey changed a lot. How would this affect his life and career next? The many faces of Gary Busey. Donald Trump, the former president of the United States, once called Gary Busey brilliant and a genius. Gary Busey, known for his versatility as an actor, has played everything from action heroes to villains. He's also been a comedian, a reality show star, and a fascinating cultural figure. His career, filled with both high praise and confusion from the public, shows a man who is uniquely unpredictable and always interesting. Busey's rise to fame started in the 1980s when he became known for his high-energy lifestyle. Over time, he became a beloved yet unconventional figure in Hollywood, often described as Hollywood's favorite crazy uncle. His unpredictable behavior and distinct personality have led many to see his actions and career as a kind of charming madness. Looking back at Busey's career is like taking a long, varied road trip across America. Most of the journey is straightforward, with stretches that might seem uneventful at first glance, but there are moments so memorable that you can't help but stop and appreciate them. Whether through his movie roles or his larger-than-life public appearances, Busey has a way of leaving a lasting impression. Busey's film roles have received mixed reactions, with some earning perfect scores and others receiving poor ratings on Rotten Tomatoes. This contrast highlights his ability to be both the best and the worst of what movies can offer. Yet he never fails to grab the audience's attention with his intense performances and his trademark wild eyes. A common question when discussing Busey's career is, what happened to Gary Busey? This question invites a closer look at his life and work, suggesting a mix of amazement and confusion at his unpredictable career path. Gary Busey was born in 1944 in Goose Creek, Texas. In his early life, he tried his hand at football in college, but an injury led him to study theater instead. Alongside his studies, Busey was a talented drummer, working with legends like Willie Nelson and performing under names like Teddy Jack Eddy. Despite his success in music, he never gave up on acting, getting his first big break on a TV show and becoming the last person killed off in the classic series Gunsmoke. In the early 1970s, Busey took on small roles in various films, including Angels Hard as They Come and The Magnificent Seven Ride. However, his roles in the TV movie Bloodsport and alongside Martin Sheen in The Execution of Private Slovak began to elevate his status in Hollywood. But even as his star was rising, things were about to take an unexpected turn. Busey's breakthrough role came in the 1976 remake of A Star is Born, where he acted alongside Barbra Streisand. This role was a turning point, showcasing his talent to a broader audience. His portrayal of a road manager in the film was a significant step in his acting career, opening doors to bigger opportunities. But this was just the beginning. The highlight of Busey's early career was his portrayal of Buddy Holly in The Buddy Holly Story, which earned him an Academy Award nomination. His performance was praised not just for his acting, but also for his musical talent, as he performed all the songs live without any dubbing. This role is often cited as one of the best biographical performances in film history, making a lasting impact on Hollywood. As the 1980s rolled in, Busey's career continued to grow with a variety of roles. He starred in Carney, alongside Jodie Foster, and appeared in Barbarossa, a Western that, like many of his films, received critical acclaim. During this period, his career was a mix of successes and less notable films, like DC Cab and The Bear. In The Bear, Busey famously wrestled a live bear, showing his dedication and fearlessness as an actor. But even this daring act wasn't the most shocking moment of his career. In late 1985, Gary Busey took on the role of Uncle Red in the werewolf thriller Silver Bullet, written by Stephen King. The movie had its ups and downs, but something remarkable happened during filming. Stephen King himself noticed that while the scenes originally followed the script, it was Busey's spontaneous, improvised takes that really brought Uncle Red to life. These improvised moments ended up being used in the final cut of the film. This led to an interesting question. Was Gary Busey's on-the-spot creativity more effective than Stephen King's carefully written words? While everyone might have a different opinion on this, what's clear is that Busey's lively performance made a significant impact on the movie. Silver Bullet didn't wow critics when it was first released, receiving mixed reviews. The film also didn't break any box office records, making just over $12 million. But despite this lukewarm reception, Busey's performance stood out, earning him praise even when the film itself didn't. Over time, Silver Bullet gained a cult following, with many fans now considering it one of the best adaptations of Stephen King's work. This lasting appeal is a testament to the film's enduring charm. In the following year, 1986, Busey appeared in two action movies, Let's Get Harry and Eye of the Tiger. Unfortunately, both roles were relatively minor, and the films didn't do much to boost his career. By 1987, Busey was in a bit of a slump. Since his Oscar-nominated role in The Buddy Holly Story, he hadn't been involved in any major or memorable films. His career seemed to be losing momentum. In an effort to turn things around, Busey decided to audition for a role in the movie Lethal Weapon. He wanted to play the villain, a role that was quite different from what he had done before. This was his first audition in years, and he admitted feeling nervous, even describing the experience as having Gary Busey butterflies. The film's producers were looking for a villain who could pose a real challenge to Mel Gibson's character, someone who was both intimidating and a bit unhinged. Busey fit the bill perfectly, and he delivered a chilling performance that stole the show, proving that he could dominate the screen even in darker, more sinister roles. Busey's work in Lethal Weapon was a turning point. Acting alongside Mel Gibson, Danny Glover, and under the direction of Richard Donner, Busey often referred to this experience as a blessing. He credited his co-stars and the director with helping him deliver one of his best performances. This role not only showcased his range as an actor, but also revived his career, which had been in decline. But this wasn't the end of Busey's struggles. After the success of Lethal Weapon, Busey's career hit another rough patch. He starred in 3 films, Bulletproof, Age of Piracy, and Hider in the House, none of which made much of an impact. These movies failed to connect with audiences or critics, and they didn't do much to keep the momentum going from his earlier success. It seemed like Busey's career was once again losing steam, but the real challenge was yet to come. Just 5 days after finishing Hider in the House, Busey was involved in a serious motorcycle accident that nearly took his life. This event was a major turning point, not only in his career, but also in his personal life. The accident happened at a time when Busey was struggling to find roles that could help him regain his footing in Hollywood. The physical and emotional recovery process that followed was incredibly difficult and tested his resilience in ways he hadn't experienced before. This accident not only interrupted his career, but also forced him to reevaluate many aspects of his life. With new energy, Busey returned in Predator 2. What new challenges and chances would he find? The role reclaimed. Less than 2 years after surviving a nearly fatal motorcycle crash, Gary Busey returned to the big screen in Predator 2. This role was originally meant for John Lithgow, but the film's producer, Joel Silver, who had worked with Busey on Lethal Weapon, pushed for him instead. This decision highlighted Busey's unique appeal and his ability to bring something special to any role. Predator 2 had a lot of action and an ambitious plot, but it didn't do well at the box office, earning just $57 million worldwide, far less than the first movie's $100 million. At first, critics and audiences didn't seem too impressed, giving it lukewarm reviews. However, over time, Predator 2 gained a dedicated following. Now it's seen as an underrated movie, especially noted for its mix of street gang warfare, surprising alliances, and the strong performances by Gary Busey and Danny Glover. But this wasn't the peak of Busey's career struggles. In 1991, Busey worked on 3 very different projects. He starred in My Heroes Have Always Been Cowboys, and in a TV movie called Wild Texas Wind, where he played a tough role as Dolly Parton's abusive manager. But the most memorable project that year was Point Break. In this movie, Busey played a grumpy FBI agent who introduces Johnny Utah, played by Keanu Reeves, to a gang of surfing bank robbers. On set, Busey took on the role of a mentor to Reeves, helping him navigate the tricky parts of Hollywood. Point Break was a big hit, directed by Catherine Bigelow, and it earned $83 million worldwide. The movie was so popular that it later inspired a remake, though Busey was skeptical about the remake's quality, even without seeing it. People often compare Point Break to other action-packed films like The Fast and the Furious, but with a surfing twist. However, even with this success, Busey's challenges were far from over. In 1992, Busey made a cameo as himself in The Player, a Hollywood satire directed by Robert Altman, which had a huge ensemble cast. He also starred in Chrome Soldiers, a TV movie about a soldier investigating his brother's death, and Canvas, where he played a man involved in an art heist to save his brother's life. But these roles were overshadowed by his performance in Under Siege, where he played a villain opposite Steven Seagal. Under Siege became one of the highest-grossing films of Busey's career, and he was praised for his ability to steal scenes from Seagal, proving his talent for playing captivating bad guys. Busey's momentum continued with The Firm, a movie based on a John Grisham novel. This film became the highest-grossing of Busey's career and the most successful Grisham adaptation at that time, earning $270 million. Once again, Busey's role was crucial, enhancing his reputation as a reliable and talented supporting actor. But not all was smooth sailing from here on. Amid these successes, Busey took on a lighter role in Rookie of the Year, a family-friendly baseball movie where he played an aging pitcher. His character starts out resenting the young protagonist, but eventually becomes his mentor, showing Busey's range in handling both dramatic and more heartwarming roles. The 1990s also saw Busey in Drop Zone with Wesley Snipes, a film that did reasonably well, mainly noted for its impressive stunts despite some criticism of the plot. But behind the scenes, Busey was battling severe personal struggles. He had a serious addiction to drugs, which led to a life-threatening overdose in 1995. This event was a major turning point for Busey. It forced him to confront his demons, and he has since opened up about his journey through addiction and recovery. Gary Busey's journey in the film industry has taken quite an interesting turn since the mid-1990s. Instead of focusing on big, well-known movies, Busey shifted towards taking on a large number of roles, appearing in over 80 movies. However, only a few of these films made it to theaters. Some of these include titles like A Man with a Gun, Livers Ain't Cheap, and Carried Away. These movies span a wide range of genres, from action-packed thrillers to lighthearted comedies. But despite taking on so many roles, Busey's later films didn't always achieve the same success as his earlier works. Yet they gave him a chance to showcase his distinctive acting style. For instance, he took on quirky roles in films like The Ginger Dead Man and Piranha 3DD. These movies might not have had the biggest budgets or the most traditional stories, but they allowed Busey to express his unique flair. On the other hand, he also played more serious characters in films like A Sight for Sore Eyes and The Prize Fighter, though these too had mixed results. One particularly unusual role was in the movie Quigley, where Busey plays a man who gets turned into a Pomeranian dog. This film, along with others like Frost, Portrait of a Vampire and Mansion of Blood, highlights Busey's willingness to take on odd and eccentric projects. He seemed to embrace these unconventional roles with enthusiasm. But this wasn't the most surprising part of his career shift. Despite the odd roles, Busey still managed to shine in mainstream cinema. He had memorable roles in popular movies like Black Sheep, starring Chris Farley, and the cult classic Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. In Fear and Loathing, Busey delivered a notable performance as a lonely highway patrol officer, even though his time on screen was brief. Even though many films from this period, like Soldier with Kurt Russell, didn't do well at the box office, Busey kept working steadily. He showed his adaptability by joining the Sharknado series, a wildly popular franchise known for its outrageous premise and humor. In this series, Busey played Tara Reid's father, further cementing his place in pop culture. Beyond the world of movies, Busey also ventured into video games. He lent his voice to the character Phil Cassidy in the Grand Theft Auto Vice City series. This role introduced him to a whole new audience, showing that he could adapt to different kinds of entertainment. But even this isn't the full picture of his versatility. Busey made numerous cameo appearances as himself, making the most of his off-screen persona. His guest spots on shows like The Simpsons, American Dad, and Family Guy showcased his cultural impact and popularity outside of traditional acting roles. These cameos, often funny and self-aware, helped solidify Busey's status as a cultural icon, known for his energetic and eccentric personality. But that's not all. Busey also found a place in reality television. He appeared on shows like Celebrity Apprentice and Celebrity Big Brother in the UK, where he actually won. These appearances highlighted his unpredictable behavior and quirky personality, endearing him to fans all over the world. In recent years, Busey has continued to take on unconventional projects. One such project was Gary Busey, Pet Judge, where he humorously presided over pet-related disputes in a courtroom setting. This show combined humor with his well-known love for animals, further playing on his quirky public image. But this wasn't the end of his challenges. Despite facing serious health issues, including a brain tumor and struggles with substance abuse, Busey has remained a beloved figure in popular culture. His ability to bounce back and reinvent himself over and over again speaks to his complex personality and lasting appeal. Though Busey may not have regained the same level of critical acclaim he once enjoyed earlier in his career, his journey through Hollywood has been anything but ordinary. He has gone from being a leading man in movies like The Buddy Holly Story to taking on character roles in films like Lethal Weapon, and eventually to playing versions of himself. This path shows just how unique his career in the entertainment industry has been. What do you think is the key to Gary Busey's enduring appeal despite his many controversies? Leave your comments and subscribe for more discussions on the fascinating worlds of film and celebrity.